You're beating, you're raising when everyone else is poking holes in generative AI and valuations. Are you unique?
I believe we are unique, Caroline. There's an elite level of execution that exists in this culture. I have been blessed with 25,000 of the greatest women, men I've ever worked with, and they just every day come to work for our customers. And, you know, we built this AI platform for business transformation. And in this moment in time, CEOs need to grow their businesses, and they can't do it unless they simplify their organizations. They're very complex, and you have to clean up the mess to serve your customers and your employees and your innovators better. And they're doing it on one common platform with ServiceNow, powered by Gen AI. And the Gen AI revolution is real for ServiceNow because we built it into our platform. And we have something we call domain-specific LLMs, which means we work with the customer's data. We have zero latency in terms of speed because it's the customer's data, and it's highly secure because it's the customer's data. So we're able to innovate and build net new innovation constantly, and we're constantly releasing this innovation to the market. And that's why our Gen AI business is doubling quarter after quarter, and we're beating and raising guidance, and no one else is doing it. So it's a real thrill.
Has it got ahead of itself elsewhere in the market then? If you are unique, are there only a few winners in this generative AI euphoria, and has elsewhere become overvalued and toppy and hyped?
Well, I don't really want to speak for the valuation of other companies. You know, you look at a great company like Microsoft, you look at a great company like NVIDIA. I mean, these are companies that are doing amazing things with AI, and they're well-deserving of their valuations, if you ask me. And in terms of our valuation, if you think about the enterprise software industry, most of the participants are 20th century companies built on 20th century architectures, and that's okay. They have data in their systems, and we think of them as databases that feed the ServiceNow platform. As Jensen Huang would say at NVIDIA, he calls us the AI operating system for the enterprise, because all that data can be ingested into ServiceNow and then activated in our domain-specific large language models. And this is how Gen AI helps people. And our whole brand image is putting AI to work for people, whether it's an employee, a customer, an innovator, or someone just trying to help you digitally transform your IT estate. It's all happening on ServiceNow.
Do you think the productivity gains are real when you deploy generative AI across businesses?
Oh, I know they are. You know, Caroline, one proof source is we don't ship product to the marketplace until we run it first. So we have something we call Now on Now, which is ServiceNow on ServiceNow. And we're realizing 55% productivity gains in engineering because we can take simple natural language text, pictures, soon videos, we call this multimodal LLM, and turn it into code. And that's liberating our engineers to do their best work. We take all of our employee activities that are total nonsense, and we automate that so the computers do the nonsense work, so the people can do the knowledge work. When it comes to customers, you got to meet them in any channel just the way they want to do business with you, not just when you sell them something, but also when they have a return or they have a billing question or anything that might affect their satisfaction. That's all happening now with ServiceNow Assist, where we're changing the game on customer satisfaction and loyalty. And we're doing all this for our customers before we ship it to your customers. And that, I think, is very unique. It's odd to say this, but I don't see any other software companies that actually do it that way. They ship and hope it works out well in the market. We test it at home before we put it in the market, and that's why our customers love us.
Let's talk about, and I hate to name names, but some other enterprise software companies. I mean, Salesforce, Workday, they're teaming up to be offering generative AI products. Are you worried about that?
It's perfect. I mean, if you think about it, it's what I just said. They both have, let's call it departmental solutions. You know, one might be focused on the customer, one might be focused on HR, and they have an architecture that's been around decades now. So we use the data in those systems for customers so they can activate this new brave Gen AI world on the ServiceNow platform. Because what good does it do for a CEO to have the sales director optimized, but they are not included in a workflow that deals with the customer from the product that you build to the product that you ship and ultimately the product that the customer uses and gets satisfaction from. We take the whole value chain into account. If you take HR, it's one thing to have a system of record where, I know my employees and I pay them and I have benefits for them, but it's another thing to recruit them, hire them, onboard them, train them, give them every service that they need in real time, and constantly evolve the generative AI use cases on the mobile so they have a beautiful life. So we just do something different. They do something important too, and our job is to make sure that the customer wins.
Are you taking market share?
Oh, obviously. I mean, if you look at our business, we are the unicorn in the enterprise software industry. I think that one of the analysts on Wall Street put it beautifully today. He basically said that this is an exclusive brand in the enterprise software industry because we're the unicorn. No one's growing as fast as we are. They say you're world class when you grow at the rule of 40. That means your revenue growth plus your free cash flow margin adds up to 40. We're operating in the mid-50s. And we're not only beating quarters, but we're raising guidance as we beat quarters. And that's really because the Gen AI revolution was carefully thought through on our platform. Our brilliant engineers built the best products in the world. Our go-to-market machine's unstoppable. And all the supporting functions in our company and our ecosystem are working for the customer. We come to work for the customer. Whether you're in the private sector or you're in the public sector, we work for you. And I think people really appreciate that, which is why we have like a 99% loyalty rate.
I want to talk about that public sector and indeed some of the analysts noting a slight nervousness about what's just happened that's unique to you. And this is in the hiring sphere. And in fact, the president and COO, CJ Desai, has just left the company largely because of policy violations, we understand. You did a deep dive into what had occurred in terms of the hiring of your head of public sector, Raj Iyer, the former US Army official. Now, for those out there who don't know legalese, who aren't aware of HR details, can you explain really simply what happened and the action you took?
Well, I can tell you what I told the capital markets yesterday. Basically, we received an internal complaint. We take all complaints extremely seriously, especially when it comes to a public sector entity. We love our federal business, and we care deeply about the citizens of the United States and also the service professionals of the United States and how we serve them. We take that extremely seriously. So we elevated that to the board. A special committee of the board was formed along with outside counsel. We investigated all the facts very, very carefully and came to the conclusion that our policy was violated. And we openly reported this to all the entities that are the entities that should have received the reports in the government. And we were proactive with the whole situation. So we have that behind us, hopefully. And, it's one of those things where integrity and our abidance by strict adherence to our policies is just something that we care deeply about in our culture, and we don't grade that on a curve. Tough decisions have to be made when tough decisions have to be made.
What was the policy that was violated? Should you not have hired so close to the inking of a deal?
It was, I think that I've said what I can say on the subject. The idea that there was a hiring decision that was ill-timed is something that we will tighten up our processes on and make sure we have express written consent from various organizations that may have people available to be hired by ServiceNow in the future. So that's really leave it there. And, we're a very open company, very transparent company, very compliant company, and we prove that once again by volunteering all of this openly.
A big portion of the recent business has come from federal government and the segment there. Will contracts be more scrutinized? Are you worried about any credibility hit?
There was no issue related to the financial transaction. The customer in this case loves us. They get enormous value from our solution. They're extremely happy. And I know that this is a single-threaded event, and that's really all I'd like to comment on the matter. We are cooperating fully. We completely transparently shared everything. And no, I do not believe this is anything more than an isolated incident based on the facts.
We've had sort of a massive isolated incident that's just affected technology worldwide with a global outage due to CrowdStrike. Have any of these issues, cyber incidents, CrowdStrike and Snowflake, have they impacted your business at all or the conversations you're having with clients?
That's a great question. Caroline, zero impact on customer systems, data integrity, financial systems integrity, zero. And a lot of people say, how is that possible? The Now platform from ServiceNow is the critical success factor to running a great business. We have a customer master database that literally maps all the service usage in a company. We have instant visibility into the impact of other systems, and that enables companies to stay resilient, to keep employees up to date on a portal and keep their companies running. So zero impact from CrowdStrike or Snowflake for the same reason. This is an amazing platform, and the companies that have it been sending me thank you notes because of how resilient the platform is and how we kept them going. And of course, no impact to our business because we run the whole company on the ServiceNow platform.
Is there any, and this is always a sensitive question, I'm sure, but is there any opportunity to make acquisitions at this moment? How else could you be beefing out your platform other than the organic side of things?
Yeah, well, we've done some little tuck-ins, but we haven't done any big ones. Obviously, we're in a position with a very successful company where we could, but we have enormous, enormous organic growth, and we're just getting started. You know, we have a $275 billion TAM, and now we're entering in, boldly in, I might add, to the data space, where we just have an invention that we announced in yesterday's earnings call called RaptorDB. And RaptorDB is enabling companies to ingest massive amounts of data at scale, 12 times more than any other enterprise platform in the world, probably. And it processes analytic inquiries 27 times faster than any other database we've ever seen. And this is all going to facilitate our domain-specific large language models. So think of it this way. Your CEOs listening to this right now are thinking to themselves, how do I unlock all the data in my various departments so I can automate the way work flows in my company and I can reinvent my business processes for the 21st century? RaptorDB can get the data from any of the data sources, bring it into the ServiceNow platform, and then we automate through GenAI the way work works and make it work better for people, whether they're employees or customers. We're going to revolutionize the way work is done. And that's happening right now. You know, we're going to bring in 35 massive companies into our RaptorDB Lighthouse program. And a year ago, we did that for our Now Assist generative AI program. And you see how well that's worked out. We're doubling quarter after quarter. So we're seeing new vectors of growth everywhere, and we're doing it organically.
We've got less than 1 minute, Bill. If I'm about to go and sit at a dinner table and be told that AI is hype, what do I say back?
Well, I think you have to say, in some cases it is. And a lot of people are whitewashing AI and pretending that they've got something. Ask to see the demo, show me the product, show me the use cases. Do you know my industry? Do you know my business? Is there a use case there? And how can I turn that into productivity and real value add from my stakeholders to improve the way my company runs? There's a lot of pretenders out there, Caroline. We're not one of them. We're a winner.